Hey, my name is Chris, and this is Castle Trials, a new single-player map in Quake 1 I've been making over the last couple of weeks. So I'm just going to do a quick run-through of this map and kind of take some notes on my design process. I'm not going to go over every single point. I'd recommend watching some of the other videos I made the past couple of weeks of making through this map, as well as my GitHub repo, which you can find in the description. So this is the start here. You can tell me you can tell that I'm just kind of appreciating the bounce lighting here. Especially this bit of the outside light kind of coming in. You have the castle up here. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Let me just kill these guys real quick. I see after you kill the knights, you have to kill these people on the walls here. And then these guys come out and you gotta kill them. And these each button will either raise the door or raise the bridge, and you get kind of a different experience depending on which one you shoot first. And you'll notice that I tried to mix in some contrast of having areas, big open areas with full bright lights, and then areas with less lights like this. You tell me. I'm appreciating that, the fill from the outside area right there. Like here is a very tight space with little minimal lighting. Then you go out here, which is a huge space with a lot of lighting. And once you cross here, these little demons drop down. Those guys take a lot of health. You can see the little alcoves I've put in there. And then once you go a little bit further, then you have the last encounter here of this main area. So there's three waves going on right now before all the trials open up. And we have the little message here, and you can see the gates leading to the trials have now opened. Alright, looks like we're heading to the teleporter puzzle first here. As you can tell, that hasn't changed. And then you have the maze trial. I made sure to put a text trigger on the beginning of every trial just to give some more context to the player. And as you notice, every time you get to a new room, you actually telefrag an enemy, which kind of gives you a nice audio-visual feedback as to which rooms you've been on and which you haven't. So here you just get teleported to the same room, then you get this new room, then you notice the chunks flying about, as well as the enemies spawning in. Which gets kind of chaotic when you're rapidly teleporting to the same room over and over again. And this one here, you can tell that there's a demon getting telefragged. And then make sure to make these little key rooms be more like their like the actual color of the key they're in. And then you have the little top of the tower there. Alright, looks like we're going to acid room now. Again, the agility trial. And for acid room, I decided to spread out the enemies a little bit more because I found that players thought that it would be really boring at first. And then looking back at it, I think the difficulty spikes up way too fast. So I decided to kind of put enemies, spread them out a little, and put them in some of the earlier puzzles as well. I loved putting these guys on the platforms here. I don't know why. Like this part, I don't know. I think that these little enemies spawning on the moving platforms is really cute for some reason. This one you got some lighting effects. And this one I found out on accident that if you set a trigger to a light, and you trigger it, then the light will actually turn off. So I just decided to manipulate that with that here as I fall off this platform. I also noticed that when the player fires or the enemy fires, a small light source will actually spawn in for about a second. You notice the gate closing after every time you complete a trial. Is me just appreciating that bounce lighting. It's so beautiful. Once again, getting the time trial, just reminding the player the context of like why exactly they're doing this, and just to make it abundantly clear. Because some players did not realize that a time trial was actually happening. So a lot of times they'll get overwritten by the text triggers here. It's telling you how many enemies are left. decided to make it abundantly clear. And then here I'm kind of spawning the enemies in a circular motion to kind of drag the player's attention around in a circular fashion. I really like this area. I think this might be my favorite room in the whole map. Just being able to run around like crazy. Gives me some like Doom 2016 vibes. And then blue room matches blue key. And of course that last trigger will, due to the nature of the triggers, they all destroy, but you'll see that last one. And then we get another 3 waves before the boss room opens. I tried to mix up some of the enemy spawnings in here. The first wave will be a bunch of long range enemies like the wizards or the grunts shooting at you. And then the second wave here will be these knights and the demons, which is a very deadly combination. And you can notice that I put these little alcoves here as spawn points for the enemies, just because for one, to help spread out the locations of the spawns, but also so the enemies aren't spawning on players' heads, as I've noticed during playtesting. Just gotta collect some ammo. I made sure to, I wanted to give the player here, since we're about to throw them with a bunch of resources and health and ammo, I wanted them to kind of come really close to running out here. Here I gotta start using my rocket launcher just for this guy. Then we have the boss room open. Here you can say I put the really bright light on the little mural there. And I don't know why, I really like this room. This room causes me anxiety. And we can tell we have this huge light coming in from the boss room. I also put in a reminder of the quick save feature just because a lot of players were complaining about not having checkpoints, which is impossible in Quake. So I decided to put that little text trigger there. And you can tell that I opened up the room a little bit more. I made the steps way easier to get up and down for both you and the enemies. And I added way more pillars. A lot of players complained about the difficulty, but I didn't really want to... One of the players also said how amazing it was to be challenged with having to defeat 3 of those shamblers, plus all these shooting enemies. So I didn't really want to take that moment away, but I did want to make it a little bit easier by giving the player a bit more space to move around in, and then also some more cover with the pillars. I think I managed to hit a pretty sweet spot with this, because the boss fight lasts about like 2 or 3 minutes, which I think is a really good amount of time for Quake. It's long enough for it to feel powerful and meaningful, but it doesn't really get old, at least not for me. But we'll find that out when we test this again. Yeah, these pillars make it way easier. And once you get one down, you kind of breathe that sense of relief of, okay, yeah, one I can do. Yep, and the very last shot you see is your rightful place on the throne. Well, that was my new single-player Quake map. I put the repo down in the description if you'd like to try it and give me any feedback. And my name's Chris. Thank you for watching.